There is a village in Austria that looks so perfect, so impossibly beautiful, that the first time most people see a photograph of it, they assume it has been edited. The snow-capped mountains behind it seem too dramatic. The lake in front of it seems too still and too blue. The rows of centuries-old timber houses seem too perfectly placed along the water's edge, but it is all completely real. This is Hallstatt, a village of just 700 people, tucked between a mountain and a lake in the Austrian Alps, and it has been ranked one of the most beautiful villages in the entire world. Today, I am taking you there completely. Hallstatt sits on the western shore of Lake Hallstatt in the Salzkammergut region of Upper Austria. The lake is one of the oldest and deepest in the country, a dark, mirror-still body of water surrounded on all sides by mountains that rise almost vertically from its shores. The village clings to the narrow strip of land between the water and the cliff face, which means every building, every street, every balcony is stacked on top of the next, climbing the mountainside in layers. There are no wide roads here, there are no sprawling suburbs. There is simply the lake, a strip of land barely wide enough to hold a village, and a mountain that has been looking down at it all for millions of years. It is this dramatic geography that gives Hallstatt its unforgettable appearance, where every angle feels like a postcard brought to life. What makes Hallstatt truly extraordinary is its age. This village is not just old in the way that most European towns are old. Hallstatt is ancient. People have lived here continuously for over 7,000 years, making it one of the oldest permanently inhabited settlements in the world. The reason was salt. The mountain above Hallstatt contains one of the world's oldest salt mines, so significant that an entire prehistoric era of human history, the Hallstatt period from around 800 to 400 BC, was named after this village. Salt was once so valuable, it was known as white gold, and the wealth it generated allowed this tiny community to thrive for thousands of years. The salt mine is still open today, and visiting it is one of the most remarkable experiences in Europe. You descend underground into chambers carved and mined for thousands of years, and the walls around you glitter with crystallized salt that has been forming since before recorded history began. Massive wooden slides once used by miners now carry visitors deep into the mountain, making the journey both educational and unforgettable. Getting to Hallstatt is part of the magic. Most visitors arrive by train to the station on the opposite side of the lake, and then take a short ferry across the water. The moment Hallstatt comes into view across that lake, reflected in the still surface, mountains rising behind it, morning mist hanging in the valleys above, is one of those arrival experiences people talk about for years. The nearest major cities are Salzburg, about 75 kilometers away, and Vienna, about 280 kilometers away. Salzburg makes the perfect base if you are combining Hallstatt with other Austrian destinations, including Wolfgangsee, St. Gilgen, and the Dachstein region. Even the ferry ride itself feels like part of the attraction, offering one of the finest first impressions of any village in Europe. Every season transforms Hallstatt into something different and equally extraordinary. In winter, snow covers the rooftops, and Hallstatt becomes something from a fairy tale, silent, white, and perfectly still. The Christmas market here is one of the most atmospheric in all of Austria, with warm lights reflecting across the frozen-looking lake. In summer, scarlet geraniums spill from every window box, and the lake warms enough for swimming, kayaking, and boat trips. Spring and autumn bring fewer crowds and the kind of golden light that makes the mountains glow in ways no camera quite captures but every eye remembers. Morning fog drifting across the lake creates scenes that feel almost dreamlike, while autumn paints the forests in brilliant shades of gold, orange, and crimson. One thing to know before visiting: Hallstatt is small, and it is extraordinarily popular. On peak summer days, up to 10,000 visitors arrive in a village of 700 residents. Arrive early in the morning, before the tour buses come, and you will have the lakefront almost to yourself. The light is best at this hour anyway, and the reflection of the village in the undisturbed lake is something afternoon crowds make almost impossible to see clearly. Spending the night is highly recommended, because once the last tour buses leave, Hallstatt becomes peaceful again, revealing the quiet charm that locals experience every day. Walking the village takes less time than you might expect. The main promenade is only about 1 kilometer long, but the depth of what you find is extraordinary. The market square is the heart of the village, and one of the most photographed spots in Austria. The colorful Alpine houses, flower-filled balconies, and centuries-old fountains create an atmosphere that feels timeless. The Catholic parish church dates to the 12th century and sits directly at the water's edge. Just behind it is the Bone House, the Bein House, where over 1,200 painted skulls are displayed on shelves. A centuries-old tradition, born of a cemetery too small for a village hemmed in by mountain and water. It is strange, solemn, and utterly fascinating. Above the village, the Hallstatt Skywalk viewing platform offers what is arguably the finest elevated view in the entire Alps. The lake below, the village in miniature, and mountains stretching endlessly in every direction. For food, the local specialty is forelle, fresh trout pulled from the lake, served grilled or pan-fried in restaurants along the promenade. Pair it with Kaiserschmarrn, a caramelized shredded pancake served with plum jam, and you have a meal that is completely unique to this corner of Austria. Local cafes also serve freshly baked apple strudel alongside traditional Austrian coffee, making even a simple afternoon break feel special. For accommodation, Seehotel Grüner Baum sits directly on the lakefront and is one of the oldest and most beloved hotels in the village. Staying inside Hallstatt itself, and waking before the day visitors arrive, is an experience no day trip can ever replicate. Hallstatt is a reminder of something rare and increasingly precious. A place where human beings have lived for 7,000 years and built something that fits its landscape rather than fighting it. Every building, every alley, every flower box feels like it grew here naturally, as if the village and the mountain and the lake arrived together and have simply been getting used to each other ever since. It is a place where history, nature, and everyday life exist in perfect balance, creating a destination unlike anywhere else on Earth. It is one of the most beautiful places I have ever seen. Standing at the edge of that lake at first light, with the mountains reflected perfectly across the water and church bells echoing through the valley, I understood completely why people have never stopped coming here, for 7,000 years and counting. If this video inspired you, subscribe right now, because 4 more of the world's most beautiful villages are coming this week. Drop a comment below. Have you been to Hallstatt, or is it going straight onto your bucket list? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.